The most disturbing videos on the internet today. Let's dive in. I mean, what else was he supposed to do in that situation? What would you have done in that situation? If only we had a view of the rocket like that for 30 more minutes to see where it goes. If you're enjoying this video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button because we do these every single day, and I'd love to see you tomorrow.
Plants here are only green because our sun is green. The majority of light emitted from the sun is in the blue-green wavelength. It doesn't look green to us because it has light emitted in other areas too, in red and blue. And so when you blend all those together, they look white.
A green sun, how interesting.
Sun is not yellow, it's actually green. According to some, the Earth's light pollution, alongside the lies we have been told as a society, has caused us to believe that the sun is a yellowish-white color, when in fact it is green. It has been in plain sight, and ancient civilizations have shown this to us through the art that they had left behind. We, humans, are supposedly meant to be of green skin tone, which is shown in many ancient depictions of humans, these blue or green beings. Ever wondered why our skin turns green when we wear fake jewelry? Well, apparently it's not because the fake jewelry is causing a reaction, but rather our natural skin tone revealing itself. Some theorists believe that we have intentionally changed the light frequency of our planet by overpopulating the streets with artificial light sources, and that the moon actually interferes with the way we see things. It's the brightest light in the sky. Everything that helps us heal is naturally green. It is thought that green is a healing color, and humans, nature, and the sun are all connected through the green frequency. But what do you guys think of this theory? Too far-fetched, or is it possible we are seeing our whole world in the wrong light?
Alright, it reads, the only continent where you can sometimes see the sun green rather than yellow at a sunset is in Antarctica. Drop your thoughts in the comments below about the green sun.
There's something super weird about all of these. Do you see it? These are real statues from ancient people all over the world. They are often separated by hundreds, if not thousands of years. Despite their separation in distance and age, none of them have a pupil. That mystery ties in with the entire ancient mystery. We could initially assume that the pupil was too difficult to add, but look at the detail everywhere else. The ancients spared no expense there ever. I think they could handle a pupil. Where we do see a pupil, the work is often way more inferior. Or they look like they were carved in later by a far less capable artist that couldn't really even center the pupil. Now, compare these with and without the pupil. How do you feel when you look at them? The one with the pupil seems like it's freaking out or has a 1,000-yard stare. It's weird. The lack of pupil almost makes you want to assume that emotion. So what's the mystery? The pupil controls the amount of light that comes into the retina. In the dark, we expand. In the light, it contracts. Too much dark we can't see. Too much light we can't see. At its core, light is the information we use to decipher and navigate reality. Now, the iris is the muscle that adjusts the pupil. Each iris is unique. That's why it can be used for identification. The lack of pupil indicates no need for outside information. We typically see it in deities. They don't need to interpret data from the eyes. They have the inner sight. They obviously know far more than you with your tiny little pupils. Another clue is given in the shape of the eye. It's nearly the same across every culture, regardless of the culture's appearance. The clue was given to us through the wedget. Its icon mirrors the shape of the limbic system in the brain. Even our research today is suggesting that this could be the seat of consciousness. So being consciously above the physical world requires no egoic identification with the physical world. You can think of this like the yogis and the monks that we see today doing crazy things with just their mind. Mind over matter, right?
Do y'all really believe that they will put the headstone of the pyramids inside of an art museum or museum or whatever for people to be right there to touch it? So supposedly, y'all, they said that this is supposed to be the top of the pyramid. Now, remember in one of my previous videos, y'all, I was explaining like how the back of the dollar bill is talking about the missing part of the pyramid. And then I could have swore they said that the pyramid was made of like pure gold at the top. Like the top gold is made out of some type of pure gold. And then there was another one that was saying that was something that can conduct energy and shit like that, right? Or like reflect light. That don't look like it can do any of that. Like I was also stating before, y'all, there's also multiple other theories of saying that that's not even the whole entire pyramid. It really looked like that at the bottom of the sand. The theory is that the Great Flood had caused so much mud and shit like that that it covered up the entire thing. Another reason why they said it was built by the Nephilim. This is another reason why they said truth in plain sight, the obelisk in DC. They was really saying this shit go to Hollow Earth. Oh my God! Do y'all really believe?
I'm pretty sure all of us believe that there's something under the pyramids, but just how deep does it go is the question.
To this day, y'all, there are still hidden pyramids in cities that are still undiscovered. This is a whole city right here. Hold on. Now listen, y'all, this is a Mayan pyramid, right? They said that it's over 6,000 hidden structures covered by vegetation, yo. And it's crazy, right? Because in one of the posts I said, yo, nobody be out there in like the wilderness, like tons and miles of forest. Like people don't be out there, you feel me? And the only way that they found this is by using a drone, y'all. Like a regular person just using a drone, you feel me? Just think about how many hidden things could be within there, y'all. They said that this pyramid was to house at least between 30 to 50,000 people. Like just the pyramid alone. Along with the other things that surround it. You can't really see it like that. Now, a lot of these cities, right, before like the vegetation happened and everything, they be looking like this, y'all. And then wind up looking like this depending on the area that they're in. So another thing, this remind me of the pyramid off of Alien vs. Predator, yo. Oh my God!
Did the Egyptians have the technology to use a saw?
Now, from the time Ben Franklin discovered electricity by flying his famous kite with a key on it in a thunderstorm until we had electric lights in 1890 was about 100 years. From about 1790 to 1890, about 100 years, we developed electric lights. You know, Ben Franklin wasn't technologically advanced in electricity or electronics. 100 years later, we've got computers in 1990. People before the flood were living to be 900 years old. Now picture a civilization in which people don't die for hundreds of years. You know, when I develop my knowledge, I have to write that down. From age 0 to age 30, I didn't accomplish anything in life. I'd never written a book. I'd never written anything down of any consequence. From age 30 until age 65, I have written, I couldn't count the number of books that I've written. I probably have 50 or 75 books. I wrote a lot of material. I write on legal subjects, and I have a lot of written material here. I teach school. I write most of the material that goes into my textbooks. My entire working career, everything that I have learned, everything that I have written down and preserved for the next generation had to have been done in about 40 working years. Can you imagine what I could accomplish if I could live to be 300 years old? Can you imagine how much I would write, how much I would know, how much I could disseminate to the next generation if I had 300 years to do what I've done over the past 40? It doesn't strike me as being preposterous that people before the flood had developed electricity and electric light bulbs. Hell, we did it in the last 200. Adam didn't even have children until he was 130. The guy lives to be, 930 years old. He could have done it by himself. It's been reported that those people before the flood were smarter than we are today. Their IQs were better. I don't know that that's necessarily true, but I wouldn't doubt it. We're digging up now in archaeological digs, we're digging up the evidence that they had electroplating, for crying out loud. That's pretty significant metallurgy. And the Bible reports that they were artificers in brass and iron. Now, people that are artificers in brass and iron are advanced. They're ahead of casting cannon in sand, which is where we were with Columbus in 1500. So from 1500 to 2000, we had made gigantic strides in metallurgy. We were making railroad rails, building iron ships by 1900. There's an electric battery from ancient Babylon in the form of a clay pot with an electrode down through the bottom which holds the acid inside, with an iron rod, copper cylinder, earthenware jar, copper disc, wire out the top with a pitch collar, and an unknown electrolyte. That's what they dug out back in the 1880s and then took it back to the British Museum. Didn't know what they had. You dig something out of the ground and you say, well, I don't know what this is. Take a look at human anatomy 100 years ago and say, well, these are vestigial organs. We don't know what a tonsil or an adenoid or an appendix does in the body, so therefore, because of our theory of evolution, we believe that these are vestigial organs. And so when I was a kid, they used to cut people's tonsils and adenoids out. I don't know how I survived it. We used to say, if God had intended, then he would have done. That was her mantra. If God had intended that, he would have done it. Every kid in school had his tonsils and adenoids removed. Now we find out it's a part of your immune system. One doctor reported he had never seen a case of a person who had tonsils and adenoids. It's a part of your immune system, kids.
That definitely makes you think. If people were living to be 900 years old, imagine the amount of knowledge that they obtained. Remember, this video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research on everything. Don't believe everything you hear or see on these videos.
Grounded 60 people, and the reports that came in were unbelievable. I found an anesthesiologist in San Diego, and he says, I will prove that you're wrong. And we grounded 60 people, and the reports that came in were unbelievable. TMJ disappeared, PMS disappeared, inflammation reduced, pain. Everybody slept better.
So basically for grounding, all you need to do is walk barefoot, right?
I told you I had something right here that would solve all those problems. Right here in this little bottle.
We grounded 60.
If I told you I had something right here that would solve all those problems, right here in this little bottle of Doc Willard's Wonder Water, you'd probably say that's the same kind of talk I heard from that snake oil salesman we ran out of town. Well, if you went out to Rapid City, South Dakota, you'd find a lot of folks who swear by something they say will do all those things. The wondrous water of Dr. John Wesley Willard. What we found was a vat of hot brew being stirred up out back in a truck repair shop. And watching over it was Doc Willard, who is not a wizard, but a professor emeritus of chemistry at the South Dakota School of Mines. Chauncey Taylor used it on a 2nd and 3rd degree burn. Ranchers give it to cattle to keep them healthy. Farmers say it makes wheat grow better. A quail breeder says it helps his birds grow faster and fatter.
People can't comprehend that this could be possible, and they're skeptics. And I suppose I would have been the same way if I hadn't spent the past 10 years of my life living and sleeping with this water.
Little liquid road salt, that's what melts snow and rots your car, and sodium silicate, and magnesium sulfate, and sulfated castor oil. And then Doc Willard mixes some of it with powdered lignite. What you have finally are various mixtures called by different names. LA water, it has nothing to do with that town in California. It means lignite activated water, catalyst activated water, but it's all Willard water, whatever it is.
Well, it's a calcium magnesium polysilicate polymer with a castor oil.
That's chemist talking. You've already lost me.
All right. It's a catalyst that alters the structure of water, making water behave in a manner that heretofore has not been reported in the literature.
Yes, ignited and blowed out a hole and melted my overalls. Had a pair of polyester overalls on, and it melted them and melted my shirt and burnt my leg.
And so you looked down and just saw your leg charred.
Yeah, I looked.
Well, what did you do to treat it?
Well, I had a bottle of this LA water, and I just started squirting it on there and just kept pouring it on. fine mist.
And what does it do?
Heals it, I guess.
Nancy's scab was all gone about 3 weeks after the burn. And 3 months after that, we dropped by to see the final result.
Yeah, it's all healed up.
We wondered whether this unlikely mixture has anything in it that could do anybody any harm. We took samples to industrial testing laboratories in New York City. Their results were the same as other tests. They found nothing harmful, either in the way of bacteria or metals that could hurt you. But they didn't find much else either. So, what it does, how it does it, if it does it, remains a mystery. It remains a mystery even to the Chief Medical Officer of South Dakota's Department of Health, Dr. Robert Hayes.
Use it. I've seen results of what they said it did. I've never had occasion to use it on a patient. I haven't had no more opinion than that, sir.
You've never used it yourself?
No, sir, I haven't.
But on the other hand, you had no reason to assume it would hurt anybody.
No, I haven't, as a matter of fact. Anything I've heard about it has been nothing bad. It's always been on the positive side.
Would your little bottle cost $3 to be mixed with a gallon of water the way most people use it?
Sure.
The biggest commercial distributor of Willard water is Tom Callahan. Any trouble with regulatory agencies?
Yes, they've stopped the sale of it twice, and I'm sure that we'd have a lot more, except that we have so much public opinion around this area. The governor got hundreds of letters from people that were very irate about stopping this product, and they've more or less kind of let us live ever since.
About the only laboratory work on what Willard water does has been done at the South Dakota School of Mines by Sister Marmion Howe, a professor of biology.
I microorganisms and tested them with Doc Willard's water and without it. And then I used different antibiotics on it to see if Willard's water enhanced the action of the antibiotic.
Does it?
Yes, I found that it did with certain organisms, not all.
The water also seems to sometimes speed up the growth of bacteria, doesn't it?
Yes, we found that out. Some of my students did some work on that.
And it isn't imagination with a calf or a chicken or a quail.
Quail that get the Willard water don't bite and scratch each other the way other quail do. And Jim Dickey, who breeds quail in Rapid City, says they gain more weight on less high-cost feed.
They're plumper, they're a little heavier on Willard water.
It was a better color, and it came up quicker, and it was a thicker stand, and it would yield more. It'd be more bushels per acre.
Alfer then took producer lawn water into an untreated wheat field to show him the difference.
This here is the treated wheat, and this is the untreated. And you can just see the difference in the hair roots. That's what feeds the plant. That's what makes it grow, is them little hair roots. The proof is here. You can see it. But what makes the plant do so much better with the water, I just don't know.
At other universities, and they've made the statement, as I have myself. I see it, but I still don't believe it.
Well, where do we stand? We haven't proved anything, and we didn't expect to. But we've met a lot of nice people, and we found a product that everyone agrees can't hurt you. Maybe that's enough. Besides, anything made with road salt and castor oil can't be all bad.
You don't hear too much about castor oil nowadays, do you? Trap inside the pyramid, uh-oh.
A lot of you guys were asking about traps at the pyramids. If you look here, this is an example of a trap door. If you look up here, you can see there's this huge boulder being held up here by a stone to keep it open. But this is one of the traps to seal the chamber.
You mistakenly enter a swan's territory.
Oh my God.
Woo! They don't call it Swan Lake for no reason. Not the best rescue attempt, but he tried.
Look at this. Now we're back in Tennessee again. Here we go. And now we're seeing a blimp. And you could fly on the first blimp. Funny thing is, the first blimp was 1783 with the hot air balloons. So then they decided to put the technology on display at the World Fair for the people to see. Interesting. That's 130 years later. 130 years later, they're like, oh, you want to fly around on a blimp? We'll show you that technology now. And a lot of these buildings, when you get into the dates, they're definitely much, much, much older than they used to be. These dates, when they say 1897, nah, we're going back 500 to 1,000 years. I was finding pictures from glassware. Check this. Here you go. Just buildings. Doesn't that kind of look like the Capitol building? Just tossing them up left and right. But I found things about glassware dating back to 667. That's when they were just doing glassware and all kinds of things. Lots of stuff not adding up to the narrative that these buildings are just getting thrown up all over the place. People are just using glass and just water for energy, steam, and just throwing up buildings left and right. Well, look at this.
I believe back in the day they had airships the size of cruise ships, and people were traveling in luxury. If you made it this far, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button because we do these every single day. And I'd love to see you tomorrow. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today.